Good, happy Sunday morning. I'm Riley King, and welcome to Politics with Riley King. Let's get started. First up, top pediatricians warn that AHCA could hurt children's hospitals. Let's take a listen to this video from WMUR News 9, Adam Sexton.
Great savings at Nashua Hyundai are better than ever. On stylish 2017 Hyundai Tucson for only $179 per month. And with your purchase of any Hyundai SUV, you'll also get family 4-pack at Canopy Lake Park. Only at Nashua Hyundai.
On Close-Up, the chair of pediatrics at the Children's Hospital at Dartmouth says from a medical standpoint, he has grave concerns about the American Health Care Act being worked on in the U.S. Senate.
Among the provisions that are most concerning are some of the potential cuts to Medicaid. As much as $117 million projected in New Hampshire would be at risk. And
Dr. Keith Loud says 40 to 60% of CHAD patients are Medicaid beneficiaries.
Losing that degree of support for those patients could seriously undermine the services we can provide, quite frankly, even jeopardize our existence.
Elected leaders in Concord say concerns over Medicaid funding are legitimate, but they caution that the bill making its way through Washington isn't finished yet.
Having been in Washington, until a bill is on the president's desk, signed and sealed, anything can happen and change is likely.
State Senator Jeb Bradley, a former congressman, is hopeful the Senate will improve on the version of the AHCA passed by the House. He's also keeping an eye on funding for expanded Medicaid, saying reforms like work requirements and introducing small copays could help sustain the program that has extended health care to 50,000 Granite Staters.
That would help, and that would, I think, contain the cost, but ensure, hopefully, federal funding. That's what's necessary.
As always, the money is the biggest question mark. Dr. Loud says if the AHCA manages to pass, it will likely need to be replaced by something else down the road.
So I wouldn't be surprised if we go through this sort of reform effort, and we will need to see more reform efforts in the years to come.
Adam Sexton, WMUR News 9.
Okay, and there you go on that report. Automatic voter registration bill being weighed by lawmakers. Massachusetts residents could have their voter registration information automatically updated whenever they renew their driver's license or interact with other state agencies. A bill working its way through Beacon Hill would help ensure that more of the state's nearly 700,000 eligible citizens who are not registered to vote are able to cast ballots on election day. Sessions says he plans to testify before Senate Intelligence Panel. Attorney General Jeff Sessions, whose contacts with Russia's ambassador to the U.S. during the presidential campaign have sparked questions, agreed Saturday to appear before the Senate Intelligence Committee as its investigation alleged Russia meddling in the election. Trump's legal team to file complaint with DOJ about Comey leak. Let's take a listen to this video from ABC News.
before booking a hotel. I totally get that. We want to make sure that we get a great hotel for the best price. But why only 7 when there are so many more out there? Next time, before you book, check on Trivago. Trivago compares live prices from more than 150 different websites to make sure that you find the best price for your ideal hotel. Hotel Trivago.
The president just fired back at James Comey for the first time, sent out a tweet saying, despite so many false statements and lies, total and complete vindication, and wow, Comey is a leaker. There are a lot of questions right now after the fired FBI director's bombshell testimony. Number one, did the President Trump pressure Comey to end the investigation into Michael Flynn? Was it obstruction of justice? Are there, in fact, tapes of the conversations Trump had with Comey? And is the special counsel now investigating President Trump? Let's start with our chief White House correspondent, John Karl. Good morning, John.
Good morning, George. Comey's dramatic testimony has set up a new line of attack from the White House, a battle between the president and the former FBI director over who is telling the truth. In his first public appearance since being fired by President Trump, James Comey accused the White House of lying about him and lying about the FBI.
The administration then chose to defame me and, more importantly, the FBI by saying that the organization was in disarray, that it was poorly led, that the workforce had lost confidence in its leader. Those were lies, plain and simple.
And Comey left no doubt about why he believes he was fired.
And it's my judgment that I was fired because of the Russia investigation. I was fired in some way to change, or the endeavor was to change the way the Russia investigation was being conducted. That is a very big deal.
Comey's testimony left President Trump uncharacteristically speechless. Thank you all very much. Thank you. Mr. President, any reaction to Comey's testimony? Any reaction at all? Thank you very much. Do you think he told the truth? The response instead came from Trump's personal lawyer, Mark Kasowitz, who issued a direct challenge to Comey, accusing Comey of lying under oath.
The president never suggested that Mr. Comey, quote, let Flynn go, close quote. The president likewise never pressured Mr. Comey. The president also never told Mr. Comey, quote, I need loyalty. I expect loyalty, close quote.
Kasowitz keyed in on Comey's acknowledgement that he asked a friend to leak his memos to the New York Times describing his private conversations with the president.
My judgment was I needed to get that out into the public square, and so I asked a friend of mine to share the content of the memo with a reporter. Didn't do it myself for a variety of reasons, but I asked him to because I thought that might prompt the appointment of a special counsel.
Kasowitz suggested it could be Comey who is in legal jeopardy.
We will leave it to the appropriate authorities to determine whether these leaks should be investigated along with all the others that are being investigated.
But amidst the he said, there's one thing on which the White House and Comey agree. President Trump was not under FBI investigation.
I gather from all this that you're willing to say now that while you were director, the President of the United States was not under investigation. Is that a fair statement?
That's correct.
All right. So that's a fact that we can rely on at this
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Of course, that doesn't mean he's not under investigation now. The truth about the contested conversations may come down to tapes which Trump tweeted may exist. Tapes Comey and many others in Congress now say they'd like to hear.
I've seen the tweet about tapes. Lordy, I hope there are tapes.
The White House still will not say whether or not those tapes or any recordings of the president's conversations with Comey actually exist, but you can bet that the president and his team will be asked that question over and over again until there is an answer. Amy?
All right, John Karl, thanks so much.
Okay, and there you go on that report. And that did it for Politics with Riley King. I hope you all have a great rest of your Sunday, and I hope you enjoyed this Sunday edition of Politics with Riley King. I'll see you back here next Sunday for another edition of Politics with Riley King. Goodbye, everyone.